the path of the stone. In a remote valley, surrounded by towering mountains, there was an ancient path that connected a village to a monastery atop a hill. The path was rocky and challenging, and few dared to travel it. Along the way, there lay a large, round, and sturdy stone that seemed to have been there since time immemorial. One day, a young man named Kenta arrived at the monastery in search of the Zen Master Akio. Kenta was a restless young man who had traveled to many places in search of answers, yet no experience had satisfied him. Master Akio, I have walked dangerous paths and learned from many people, but I still have not found the peace I seek. My mind is full of questions and confusion. Please teach me how to attain clarity. The master, an elderly man with a serene gaze, listened in silence. After a moment, he said, "If you seek clarity, you must first learn to observe. Go to the path leading to the valley and spend the day beside the great stone you will find there." Confused but willing to obey, Kenta went down the path. He found the stone exactly where the master had told him, resting at the edge of the trail. He sat next to it and began to observe. The day passed slowly. Travelers walking along the path reacted differently to the stone. Some walked around it, muttering words of frustration. Others tried to push it out of the way but soon gave up due to its weight. Some simply ignored it, accepting its presence as part of the landscape. At dusk, Kenta returned to the monastery. "Master, I observed the stone all day. Some people tried to move it, others walked around it, and some paid it no attention. But I don't understand what I was meant to learn from it." The master smiled. "Tomorrow, return to the path and continue observing. This time, pay attention not only to the stone but also to yourself." The next day, Kenta returned to the same spot, this time with a more open mind. He noticed how his own patience fluctuated. At times, he felt frustrated by the monotony of the task. Other times, he wondered why the stone was there and whether it had any purpose. 3 more days passed, and Kenta kept observing. During that time, he realized something important. The stone was nothing more than that, a stone. Everything he felt about it, frustration, curiosity, or indifference, came from his own mind. On the 4th day, Kenta decided to try moving it. He pushed with all his strength, but the stone barely shifted a few inches. Exhausted, he stopped to rest. Just then, an old farmer passed by. "Are you trying to move the stone, young man?" the old man asked, leaning on his staff. "Yes, but it's too heavy. Why is it here? It seems like a useless obstacle for everyone." The old man smiled. "That stone has been there longer than anyone can remember. But it is not an obstacle. It is a test." Intrigued, Kenta listened as the old man continued. "The stone teaches people what they need to learn. Some discover patience by walking around it. Others find strength in trying to move it. But the most important lesson is that it is not the stone that matters, but how you choose to face it." That night, Kenta returned to the monastery and shared what he had learned with Master Akio. "Master, I think I understand. The stone has no intrinsic purpose, but our actions toward it reveal something about ourselves." Akio nodded. "That's right, Kenta. The stone is neither an obstacle nor an aid. It simply is. It is your mind that gives it meaning. Now that you have understood this, let me ask you one final question. What will you do with the stone?" Kenta reflected deeply. The next day, he returned to the path with newfound determination. He asked the villagers for help, and together they managed to move the stone to the side of the path. It wasn't easy. It required time, effort, and coordination. In the end, they placed the stone where it no longer blocked the way but remained visible. When Kenta returned to the monastery, the master greeted him with a smile. "You have learned the most important lesson, Kenta. The stone, like life, presents you with challenges. You can ignore them, face them alone, or seek the help of others. What you do is not as important as the awareness with which you do it. Now tell me, how do you feel? Kenta smiled, feeling a peace he had never experienced before. Master, I feel that the stone is no longer a burden in my mind. I have learned to see it as an opportunity, not an obstacle. From that day on, Kenta remained at the monastery as Master Akio's apprentice, teaching others to see the stones in their lives from a new perspective. And so, the now clear path became a symbol of shared learning, reminding everyone that even the greatest obstacles can be the beginning of transformation.